Hi, I'm David Benson from Google. I am the Director of Branding. I work primarily on YouTube, but we really spend most of the time looking at how we can develop thought leadership for brand advertisers. My brief was to be 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and stick to that, but hopefully we'll have time for some questions afterwards. So the first thing which obviously everyone wants to talk about is sex. And one of the things we've noticed is, and this is a stat from Reckitt Benckiser, sex is actually down 20%. Since 2000. They did a survey on this, and they actually discovered it's due to these really annoying little things called mobile phones. And if you turn your mobile phone off and leave it outside of your bedroom, your sex life improves. Fact. I've tried it, it worked, but oddly enough, my wife now demands to keep her phone in the room. So I think that says more about me than it does about anything else. But I think what this really means is that if you're not on a mobile platform and you aren't optimizing for mobile, you're really going to struggle, right? And that's what we're seeing. And so, yes, TV broadcasting is down in most countries, but importantly, it's actually the ones that are shifting to mobile are able to hold those viewers and are able to create those viewers. So mobile is absolutely the platform where you need to be if you're going to be reaching particularly these younger viewers. One of the things about Google is people often ask what we are, and actually we're just an engineering company, and what we always say is that it's about using technology and data to find better answers for your challenges. And what we believe is that same skills, that same engineering that sits behind that search that you do pretty much every day to find something can actually be used to drive and solve challenges for marketers, challenges for broadcasters, etc. And one of the things we're seeing, certainly on YouTube, very strongly, and I think all broadcasters are really getting the hang of, is actually using the mobile audience and using the web platforms. You know, I'd love to say it's just YouTube, but it's not. I mean, we saw from Facebook earlier, they're growing as well. But these channels are very smart at knowing, actually, we're serving our audience on every platform, right? And if you take that point of view, it's a win-win situation. So James Corden in the States, the average view of his weekend show is about 1.5 million, but he regularly tops 8-10 million views on pieces of their content which people recognize are very useful and very non-linear, and that consumers are happy to consume. And it doesn't matter whether it's James Corden and Ellen DeGeneres, all of these people are going, you know what, yeah, my content works across all of the platforms and I can work it like that. And that's really smart thinking from their side. What it means is, though, that brands can also reach more of their customers as well. So channels and producers can reach more of their viewers, brands can meet more of their customers. However, it has been very difficult, particularly for media agencies, to say, okay, well, you know, I've come from this world, this is how I plan. How do I understand actually what I'm reaching online? And so one of the things we've been turning our engineers towards is to actually solving some of that conundrum of actually measuring online reach. It's taken a lot of people a long time to solve it, a huge amount of data. But what we're able to do now is actually produce reach curves. We can measure them versus and including TV, so traditional television. Equally, we can do them on their own. And we're rolling out reach curves now. I think we've now rolled out 10 countries in EMEA, and we're going to hit 30 countries globally by the end of the year. And we're working with advertising agencies to say, look, we've made the data. How do you want to integrate it into your systems so that advertising agencies can understand where they're putting their clients' money and that they can provide a better service to their clients as well? And obviously, how they use that data in their tools is entirely down to them. But what you can see from this, which is a run in the UK, what you were able to do is against the target audience, this is against 18-34-year-olds, is increase the reach of your campaign, but importantly, balance out that frequency delivery. So what you know is that heavy TV viewers watch a lot of television, surprise, surprise, the heavy TV viewers, and they soak up a lot of the ratings from your campaign. And actually by mixing the platforms, so on and offline, you're able to balance out those frequency and recapture those people who have moved away from the traditional broadcast platform. But you're also now able to create impact. So you can get reach, but you can create impact in different ways. And we've sort of had that little discussion earlier as to what constitutes a view. And I think one of the interesting things about the online ecosystem is actually that's where agencies add value. They can overlay, well, these are the kinds of views we want for this campaign versus these are the kinds of views we want for this campaign. Where does it add value to the client? If you have an ad which is just about driving top-of-mind awareness, absolutely, the first 3 seconds, the first 5 seconds, you know what? You can do that, not pay for it, drive awareness for free. Brilliant, well done. Equally, if you have a more complex message, you may decide I want a different kind of view. I may want a 15-second force view, or actually I might want to run a 5 or 6 minute ad. That is entirely down to the skill and the planners. And having a plural ecosystem that gives people those choices, I think, is incredibly valuable for advertisers. But one of the things I think is really important is this debate over what constitutes premium, and I think premium is important. Premium is really in the eye of the beholder. And what we see all the time is that if you advertise in content that people really love, it not only does it work for them, but it performs better for advertisers. So when Google launched Google Preferred, which is algorithmically pulling together the top 10% of YouTube that actually retains the most attention, we see ads that run in that content perform consistently higher than ads that run in the rest of the content. But what's really interesting, we did a similar test where we actually looked at what was the brand recall for ads that ran in what we would call broadcast content, so high cost per minute, versus creator content, someone like Zoella, versus UGC. And interestingly enough, the differences were far smaller. They were statistically insignificant. Because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What I choose to watch is premium to me. And that's really important because it's my passion that it represents. But what's also important is to recognize the passion, and I think we heard this from Studio 71, that these creators engender in their viewers. So in the UK, 6 out of the top 10 most influential people for teens are YouTubers. The Variety magazine in 2014, I think it was 12 out of the top 20 most influential people in Hollywood were YouTubers. PewDiePie is now recognized as the most influential person on the planet, which quite frankly is scary. But you know what? That's what people go for. And Zoella outsold J.K. Rowling. Right? So these people have used the distribution of the platforms and the internet and mobile to really elevate themselves now to a new form of superstar status. And I believe that it's there for both brands and producers and for MCNs to say, you know what? How do I operate across all the platforms available to me to be as effective as possible? Right? And I believe that YouTube will continue to provide a very good platform and lead the way in that space. The final thing we want to see is, for advertisers, how are my ads working? So I've reached a load of people, I've shown them great ads and great content, but I need to know how they work. So one of the things that we managed to do is to produce a tool which actually measures the impact of those ads on people exposed. And what's quite interesting is it sounds easy, but it's actually very difficult. Because if I show a group of people an ad, how do I know that my unexposed group is the same? If I go out into the street, I can't actually match those people. Online, we can do that. We can say, you, I'm going to show you the ad. You, I was going to show you the ad because you meet the targeting criteria, but substitute an ad in the last moment, and then come back and look at the difference. And what you see is quite considerable. So we can now, within 7 days, come back and say, what was the impact on ad awareness and on brand awareness of an ad? And did anyone notice the difference between the two ads that played behind me? One person. Who was it? What was it? Yeah. In one ad, he put the gum into his mouth and then started chewing. The other ad, nothing. The interesting thing about those two ads is that the ad on that side generated 97% more ad awareness and 37% more brand awareness than the ad on this side. There is no way anyone in this room could have known that. The only way they were able to do that was by taking their ad, trying it, getting the result, and then going, oh, you know what, I'm going to run with this one. Because for every $1 million I spend, I get $370,000 free, because this one works 37% better. So that is another way the digital ecosystem is adding value to advertisers and helping them get more out of their budgets. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, David. We've got time for a question or two from the audience. Oh, straight up there at the front. Please tell us who you are.
Conor Mullen, RTE, Dublin. Quick question on your premium and how you view premium. What's the premium you charge?
So within Google Preferred, we have, Google Preferred is negotiated with agencies. So the premium that we charge against that premium will depend on the deal the agency has. But it's, I'm trying to think if I can give you a measure.
An average number is fine.
I know, I'm afraid I can't give you that. I'd have to disclose a deal. I would love to, but I can't.
Oh, you're such a tease.
Yeah.
Do we have another question?
I mean, I'll tell you what is quite interesting, actually. If we,
How does it differentiate from your non-premium then?
So it differentiates because it is. We have
in percentage points.
In percentage, no. I'm not going to give you a price.
I didn't ask for a price. You're saying premium is in the eye of the beholder, and I
Yes.
agree with you in that regard. But what is the difference between what you regard as premium and what you don't regard as premium? What is the percentage markup?
So I'm not going to discuss a price markup, right? So we can either ask the question
Percentage differentiation.
or a percentage differentiation. I'm not going to discuss price. But what I will say, which is quite interesting,
Why
on
not?
price, is that if you look at the cost of 1634s, for example, in the UK on television, the CPM is well into the hundreds. You'll find it's a lot cheaper online. And that's one of the things which I do think is quite interesting when planners are looking at how they put together a schedule and who they target against, which is, again, they're now given the choice, which is, do I want to buy a whole load of people and really efficiently optimize my primary, secondary, and tertiary audiences, or do I want to go and try and buy a purer bucket? And in some cases, the first one's the right way to go. In some cases, the second one's the right way to go. But again, I think what's really interesting here is you have the option to do that. Because if you're targeting 1634s purely on TV, I used to plan for Coke back in the day. 1824s are extortionate, right? But if I buy Housewife with Kids and secondary target, I can actually get a really good deal. So again, online gives people the ability and the option, and agencies the ability to add far more value to their clients' plans, again, by smart trading and smart targeting.
So we had a Jeremy Paxman-like question there and a politician's answer. Have we got one more question?
I'm glad you called me a
audience?
politician. I said no, didn't I?
Any more questions? I mean, David is on the panel, so okay, I'll invite our panel up now because you can always ask David a question later if the panel...